Or, if you don't start to learn to spell, you're going to end up being a...
Roger Barr's sudden disappearance from chasing classic cars shocked loyal fans. One moment he was turning wrenches with Wayne Carini, the next he was gone without explanation. Now, the truth about what happened is out. Join us as we find out the twist behind the story. From trash to trade. Having Chasing Classic Cars air on Discovery's Velocity channel worked like a clever move from the very start. The name of the channel itself already gave people a sense of speed, cars, and machines. So many viewers could imagine what type of program they were about to watch. Still, a strong channel name or even a catchy title alone could never build a long-lasting success. For a show to grow into something people would want to follow week after week, it needed far more. It required faces that stood out, stories that pulled viewers in, and scenarios that could spark curiosity. The production had to be handled with precision, with good editing to smooth out the flow, camera crews that knew how to capture each angle, and modern filming that showed every detail in high definition. These ingredients together shaped the program into something striking. Another detail that kept people hooked was the mystery of how so many rare cars remained hidden for decades. Many of these automobiles were tucked away in barns, garages, and forgotten lots, gathering dust and rust while the years went by. When someone stumbled upon a long-forgotten treasure, the value often turned out to be greater than expected. The rise of the show only made this cycle stronger, as collectors and ordinary folks who came across an old vehicle now often reached out to the production team. Each phone call or tip-off could start a new adventure, with the crew traveling out, pulling back tarps, and bringing these machines back into the light. The thrill of the chase, mixed with the surprise of discovery, became part of the heart of the program. At the center of it all was Wayne Carini. His reputation as a skilled restorer and his passion for Ferraris gave the series weight and originality. Viewers could see his knowledge and respect for the craft every time he picked apart a detail on a car or explained why a certain model carried importance. His search for the world's rarest and most interesting vehicles took the show into places many had never imagined. For 9 seasons on the Velocity Network, an extension of the Discovery Channel, his journeys gave the audience both education and entertainment. The show built up a large following over the years. People were drawn to the rare finds, the restorations that turned neglected steel into shining works of art, and the variety of guests who added their own color to the episodes. Wayne's straightforward personality made him relatable. While he could be serious and methodical about the work, there was also warmth in the way he shared his passion. This balance helped viewers connect with him, turning casual watchers into long-term fans. But Wayne was not the only figure who left an impression. Roger played an important role in shaping the series, too. His history with cars stretched back even further than Wayne's, and this long experience added a deeper layer of credibility to the program. Having Roger alongside Wayne meant the show carried 2 powerful capacities, both backed by years of practice and respect in the field. Their pairing created a dynamic that balanced nicely on screen. Roger's more relaxed approach contrasted with Wayne's sharper, detail-driven focus. This difference made the interactions engaging. They did not see eye to eye on every issue, and naturally, some decisions brought about debate. Yet the foundation of respect between them always held strong. Wayne openly valued Roger's automotive knowledge, and it showed in the way he relied on his opinions. Viewers could sense this partnership as genuine, built on shared love for the craft, rather than staged drama. What made the entire project thrive was the combination of all these elements: the right channel, good production, remarkable discoveries, and personalities who gave it life. The balance of Wayne's precision, Roger's ease, and the constant hunt for forgotten classics all came together to keep viewers tuned in. By pulling out hidden vehicles, restoring them, and showing their worth, the program turned into much more than a car show. It became a journey into history, bringing the past back onto the road. Nothing shown on screen ever matches the full story. The challenges behind the scene. Every production comes with its own struggles, and television always shapes things in a way that keeps people watching. What looks smooth and easy often has a pile of problems beneath it, and reality programs are no different. Chasing classic cars may highlight beautiful machines and exciting sales, but the real world of restorations and auctions is filled with complications that do not always make it into the final cut. Behind the bright lights and catchy shots, the path is much more uneven. The restoration world carries its own challenges. Fixing up old cars is rarely straightforward, and the costs tied to that process can spiral out of control. Parts are often rare, repairs can drag on, and sometimes a car that seems full of promise ends up being nothing but a money drain. These struggles link directly to the auction floor, where all sorts of hidden issues show up. The show might highlight success stories, but behind each shining example are countless risks that follow anyone stepping into that environment. When viewers see an auction, it often looks like a win for everyone. Cars appear to sell for impressive amounts, and buyers seem thrilled. Yet the reality behind it tells another story. Fees pile up. Promises do not always match what buyers actually face once the paperwork starts. A car sold for a high figure might sound like a dream deal, but once commissions, premiums, and extra charges get added, the numbers balloon far past the original bid. This happens more often than most people realize, and even the auctions shown in the series are not immune to it. Another piece of the puzzle is the nature of the cars themselves. Many of the vehicles arriving at these auctions are there for a reason. Owners might have struggled to sell them elsewhere. Some carry hidden problems that only reveal themselves after closer inspection. While a rare gem might appear on the block and fetch a fortune, it often sits among many vehicles that bring nothing but frustration. Every bidder must weigh the chance of finding something special against the risk of driving home with a car full of flaws. For buyers, walking into an auction without preparation can bring harsh surprises. Standard costs such as titles and registration fees are expected, but auctions add layers beyond that. Premium percentages charged by the auction house take a slice out of the final bid, sometimes large enough to make a buyer regret raising their paddle. Reserve and non-reserve cars also play their part. A reserve car comes with a hidden minimum price, and if bidding does not reach that amount, the sale may fall through. Non-reserve cars, on the other hand, must sell no matter what the final bid is, which can swing deals in unexpected directions. All of these details combine to make auctions far more complex than they first appear. People may enter thinking they will spend a certain amount, only to walk away paying far more once all the figures are tallied. The show often captures the excitement of the gavel hitting the block, but it does not always slow down to show the fine print. That fine print is where the experience truly becomes costly, and it is something every buyer must face sooner or later. The unpredictable nature of auctions creates tension that fuels the drama on chasing classic cars. Every vehicle holds potential, and every buyer believes they might land a once-in-a-lifetime deal. Yet the very structure of these events is built in a way that tests patience and pocketbooks. Auctions thrive on energy, on the thrill of the moment, and on the hope that someone will raise their bid just a little higher. This environment can easily push people beyond what they plan to spend. In the end, the glossy screen version and the actual reality rarely line up. Chasing classic cars brings viewers into a world that is thrilling, full of risk, and packed with history, but it cannot erase the fact that this industry runs on uncertainty. Buyers chase dreams, sellers aim for profit, and the auction houses carve out their share in the middle. Beneath the polished presentation lies a world where costs stack up quickly, surprises wait around every corner, and each deal carries as much danger as reward. It is this mix of glamour and hardship that gives the show its edge. For every shining moment, there are countless hurdles unseen. The restorations demand patience, the auctions demand caution, and the final results demand acceptance of risks. That balance is what keeps the wheels of the series turning, and it is also what keeps the world of classic car auctions alive. Roger eventually stepped away from the show, and the reason was quite tragic. The reason for Roger's disappearance. Roger's story began long before viewers saw him on television. His background as a skilled mechanic came from his years serving with the United States Air Force, where he was stationed in Germany. During that time, he sharpened his abilities in ways that would shape his entire career. He learned not only how to repair complex machines, but also how to handle powerful engines under demanding conditions. His skill behind the wheel stood out so much that, when he was not on duty for his country, he found himself driving for the Porsche factory sports car team. He was not the lead driver, but he became a dependable backup motorist, trusted to step in when needed. This gave him experience at the highest level of racing and connected him to the world of elite performance cars. When his time in the Air Force came to an end, Roger returned home to Glastonbury, Connecticut. He brought with him a wealth of knowledge and a determination to put his skills to use. He opened his own garage in town, focusing on repairing foreign cars. Drivers with European models flocked to his shop, knowing they could rely on his sharp eye and steady hands. Yet Roger had his own sense of humor and stubbornness. He famously hung up a sign in his garage that said French cars would not be accepted. During those years, Roger was not only fixing cars, but also racing them. He spent weekends at tracks, competing in Formula B and Formula V events. His dedication paid off as he won national championships in both divisions. These victories proved he was not simply a mechanic who understood cars in theory. He was also a driver who could push them to their limits. Few people managed to master both sides of the sport, but Roger did, and it only deepened the respect he earned among fans and fellow racers. What made Roger stand out even more was his straightforward, sometimes gruff, personality. He became known for a no-nonsense attitude. People appreciated that he never pretended to be anything other than himself. That approach made him one of the most beloved figures on chasing classic cars. His expertise, combined with his sharp remarks and old-school work ethic, gave the show a unique flavor that viewers kept coming back for. He was more than just a supporting figure. He was part of its spirit. So when Roger began appearing less frequently in the shop and on screen, fans noticed right away. Rumors began to spread, and speculation ran wild. Some people even believed he had passed away, which only fueled concern. The truth, however, was different. Roger had suffered an infection in his leg while working for F40 Motorsports. It was serious enough that he needed to be hospitalized. In August of 2017, he was admitted for treatment, and many worried about whether he would ever return to his old self. After a tough recovery, Roger came back to the shop in November, determined not to let the setback end his career. Still, the infection took its toll. His health required him to change the way he worked. He could not put in the same long hours as before, and he began taking shorter shifts. On hot days, when the garage turned stifling due to the lack of air conditioning, he limited himself to 4 hours at a time. This adjustment allowed him to keep doing what he loved while protecting his strength. Even when reduced, his presence at the shop meant a great deal to those around him. Despite the challenges, Roger's devotion to his craft never faded. Working with cars had become part of his identity, something he carried with pride. His family supported him in every way possible. His wife and son helped share updates about him with fans, often through his Facebook page. Through them, people could still feel connected to Roger, even when he wasn't able to spend as much time in the spotlight. With every adjustment he made, he showed that his love for cars and the garage never left him. The journey to recovery. Roger's struggle with his health began to weigh heavily on him as his leg problems refused to go away. He had spent years working hard in the garage, bending down, crawling under cars, and pushing his body far past what most men his age could handle. But eventually, even he could not fight off the pain that grew worse with each passing day. When he finally shared on Facebook that he would have to scale back his work in the shop, many fans felt the weight of his words. Soon after, his wife revealed another layer of the struggle, explaining that he would need knee surgery to repair the damage that had built up over time. What made the situation even more surprising was what people discovered through a GoFundMe campaign set up in his honor. The fundraiser made it clear that his only real income came from his wage as a mechanic in the shop. For someone who appeared on a popular television show, it seemed unusual. Roger was one of the main reasons people tuned in to watch Chasing Classic Cars. His character, his skill, and his presence were central to the shop's appeal, yet he apparently did not receive payment for his role on the show. That detail shocked many supporters, who believed he deserved far more recognition and financial stability for the work he put in. Despite the heavy news, fans did their best to lift his spirits. They joked online that maybe the doctors could slip some car parts into his body during surgery, as if Roger himself could be fixed up like one of the classic vehicles he spent his life repairing. These playful remarks brought some laughter to his home, reminding him that he had an entire community cheering him on. When the day of surgery finally came, the outcome brought relief. The operation was a success, and soon the news spread across social media. Fans flooded the internet with words of joy. One supporter even traveled all the way from Belgium just to visit Roger in person. The fan arrived carrying chocolates, a small but meaningful gesture that showed just how much Roger had touched people's lives far beyond his own town. The road to healing was not short, but Roger tackled it the way he handled tough jobs in the garage, with determination and grit. Physical therapy became his new daily task. Day after day, he pushed himself to regain strength, to get back on his feet, and to move with less pain. Over time, the results began to show. His left knee felt stronger than it had in years. In fact, it felt so good that he noticed how bad his right knee felt in comparison. The difference was striking, and soon he began thinking about getting that knee fixed as well. Through all of this, Roger never forgot the people who supported him. He expressed his gratitude openly, sharing videos online where he showed off his progress. In those clips, his pride and excitement were clear. He called attention to his new knee, happy to let everyone know that their encouragement had not gone unnoticed. Fans delighted in watching him recover, feeling as though they were part of the journey. Even with the successful surgery behind him, Roger had to adjust to new limitations. At over 80 years old, he could not push himself the way he once did. He continued to work in the shop, but only in a reduced role. His body demanded rest, and after fighting through infections in his legs, he understood the need to pace himself. Still, his spirit remained tied to the garage. Cars had been his life, and nothing could fully take him away from that world. There is always the chance that another surgery on his right knee could give him even more freedom of movement. If that happens, Roger may once again crawl under engines with the same spark he carried decades ago. For now, though, he continues to show up, lending his expertise and passion whenever he can. His story is one of endurance and devotion, a man pushing through hardship to keep doing what he loves most, repairing and driving the classic cars that defined his career and his life. Roger's journey shows the power of resilience. Even when health problems slowed him down, he refused to step away completely. He carried on, finding ways to stay connected to the shop, to the fans, and to the craft that gave him purpose. His life remains intertwined with the vehicles he restored and the community that rallied around him when he needed them most. However, that wasn't the only character on the show. Other crew members, Wayne Carini stood at the center of chasing classic cars, shaping it into one of the most recognizable automotive shows on television. He carried the look and presence of someone who belonged in such a role. He did not appear to be playing a part, but rather living out the very image of an expert who understood every corner, line, and detail of rare automobiles. Over the course of 152 episodes, he became the figure that audiences connected with the most, gaining more time on screen than anyone else involved. As the series moved forward, that wealth of knowledge poured out in ways that made even complex information feel easy to take in. Even people with little understanding of engines, bodywork, or restoration could follow along, feeling included in the stories being told about these cars. As the show unfolded, Wayne's approach became more and more clear. He pushed aside unnecessary drama and focused on the vehicles themselves. He carried an integral nature that made the discoveries even more enjoyable. When he uncovered a hidden gem or came across a rare piece of automotive history, the energy he gave off seemed to spread across everyone in the room. Sellers often caught on to his excitement, feeding off it as negotiations began. What made these exchanges truly engaging was not only the knowledge Wayne brought, but also the honesty he carried into each deal. The arrangements may not have always been perfectly balanced between buyer and seller, but that unevenness gave the program its edge. Viewers stayed hooked because the transactions felt real, filled with triumphs and compromises that mirrored the unpredictability of life in the car world. Behind the camera, another key figure played an equally important role, though in a different way. Jim Ostrowski shaped the direction of chasing classic cars more than most viewers realized. He took on the task of directing episodes and was responsible for creating about 120 of them, which made up nearly 2/3 of the entire series. His vision kept the program from turning into something exaggerated or artificial. Under his guidance, the series kept a documentary-like style that made it stand apart from the kind of heavily scripted reality shows that often crowded television. He worked hard to maintain that sense of authenticity, even when some episodes solved problems a little too smoothly. The pacing of television required quick resolutions, but Jim's touch allowed the stories to stay believable while still entertaining. His dedication came through in every frame, and it was his steady work that laid down the foundation for the show's lasting popularity. Sadly, Jim passed away from cancer in 2017, leaving behind not only a remarkable body of work, but also the direction that would help the series continue to grow after his absence. What made Chasing Classic Cars even more remarkable was how widely available it became. The program did not remain tied to a single channel or platform. Instead, it spread across multiple outlets, reaching audiences far and wide. People could find episodes on Hulu, Fubo TV, YouTube, Philo, and Amazon Prime, giving them choices depending on where they preferred to watch. For those who subscribed to Motor Trend, there was yet another way to dive into Wayne's adventures. The presence of the series on so many platforms allowed new viewers to stumble upon it while giving longtime fans an easy way to revisit favorite episodes. This broad reach naturally helped the show rise in popularity as access became simpler and more flexible. Each episode carried more than just images of cars being bought and sold. It captured the thrill of discovery, the intensity of negotiation, and the satisfaction of seeing rare vehicles restored or passed on to new caretakers. Wayne guided audiences through barns, garages, and showrooms, opening doors to worlds that often stayed hidden from the general public. The way he handled these moments showed not only skill, but also passion. Every piece told a story, and Wayne brought those stories to life. In many ways, Chasing Classic Cars grew beyond being just a television program. It became a journey into a culture built around craftsmanship, discovery, and preservation. With Wayne leading the way, and Jim's early influence guiding its form, the show carved out a lasting place in the world of automotive storytelling. Its continued availability across so many platforms only expanded its reach, ensuring that the stories of these rare machines would keep moving forward, one episode at a time.